Welcome to the PROcast, where we invite business doers who are changing lives by sharing their stories, their strategies and tactics, and who bravely talk about their failures that actually led to their biggest successes. Now it's time to go pro with Jeremy Torres. Whether it's in her coaching or her business, my guest today is always looking for the shifting point, the piece of the puzzle that opens up a new level of results. Patti has spent over 20 years helping companies and individuals take a fresh look at the way they operate. This unique insight helps them reach their full potential, enhancing customer experiences and dramatically increasing their growth, customer retention, and profits. She is the author of UpSolutions, turning your team into heroes and customers into raving fans. Also, she's the creator of the Profit Generator, Breaking the Barriers, and the Business Evolution Blueprint. Please give a huge GoPro welcome to Patti Mara. Well, thank you. Here we are. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on the PROcast, Jeremy.
You are quite welcome. I appreciate, I was doing the research and reading about what you do and everything. I'm really interested in the stuff that we're going to get into and how I think we think about the same, about how we treat people in our businesses and why we are doing what we do, but also why those people need to do the things that you teach them to do, because of ultimately the people that we serve is the community. Mm-hmm. So before we get in there, though, I want to really ask you one question, only one question I ask everybody, and that is for you to tell me something good.
All right. Well, something good. In North America, spring is in the air, and we seem to be coming out on many, many different layers of constraint for the last couple of years.
Yes.
And, saying that, I actually think the last 2 years have been challenging. Depends on your industry, but on so many different levels, the last 2 years have been challenging, and crisis interrupts all patterns. Mm-hmm. I think we have, for entrepreneurs in particular, I think we're in the period of the greatest opportunity we'll likely experience in our lifetime. Thinking about what's possible.
That's huge. That is huge. Yeah. Biggest growth time in our lifetimes. Mm-hmm. So, how did you get into doing what you do? Let's talk a little bit about who is Patti.
So, I'm a business coach, and in all the different, kind of iterations that my career went into as I stumbled and trying to figure out where I fit in the world, pretty much whatever I did, I was coaching. If I was doing a sales role, I was coaching. If I was doing an admin role, I was coaching. So eventually that occurred to me.
Yes, maybe.
and I have a particular focus, and it's really been the stream, the common thread through everything I've done is being aware of. We used to talk about customer service as an advantage in a business, building that marketplace relationship, and it's evolved, of course, into customer experience.
Yes, I think the customer experience, really, you said it right, the client experience is the most important part, because that's what they feel, right? They could hear something, they could have an exchange with somebody, but it's the feeling that they go through the whole experience from the people they talk to when they buy or are being pitched something and the promises that they're made. And then how do they follow through with it? And so it's really not just the one time or the 2 or 3 times they talk, it's the lifetime or the lifespan of that client's experiences and interactions with the company. Because at the end of the day, companies are made of people.
Yeah, and I think, Jeremy, I think you just hit on one of the key points is that I actually think there are new business rules. The impact of the internet, even if you have a local focused business, like you've got a brick and mortar business in a local community, everyone is operating in a global marketplace today, right? So first of all, you have to think differently about what your business is and where your customers are. That's certainly true. Every business has to have a hybrid awareness, right? And I think there are new business rules, and there's a shift. There's a shift from focusing on sales to focusing on solutions.
Right.
Your business is really what the value you create, and what you sell, products or services, are just a vehicle to create that value. So there's a shift there in your focus. And then the other is the shift of, instead of focusing on transactions, focusing on relationships.
That one is big.
That's huge.
Relationships, really. I think, if I leave that up, is it behind me? Yep. I had a different group on earlier, but I usually move that out for the podcast. But building your brand by building personal relationships, and that is on any size business. It's scalable. If your workforce, or if maybe you have an interface that is not people based, but it can still foster relationship building through interactive, computerized metadata, whatever it is. There's ways to do it where you can really personalize the experience and the relationship.
One of my favorite examples, of course, it's absolutely essential for a brick and mortar business, a physical business that customer, but you can't wait for customers to walk in your door anymore. You have to be reaching them where they are, right? Whether that's social media, whatever. And there's a great example that a little French bistro opened up 20 minutes north of where I am, in a small town, and they still don't have a website. They opened up May 2020 in the middle of lockdown.
Oh, wow.
Right? And they did it really just on Facebook and Instagram, posting these fabulous pictures, and they had somebody help them doing it. Well, when they opened, they were sold out by 1:00 every day.
Wow.
And it was just absolutely amazing. But everything is, relationship based, and they're finding people, not waiting for them to walk in the door.
Right. Yeah. Being proactive, like you have to be proactive in your mind, being proactive in your message and your branding. And how about the way they treat the staff? I mean, I think that's where I make all my money in business coaching, is employee engagement. People process is what I'm kind of trying to back into a brand of people process. How do you deal with your clients in regards to what they do with their internal customers?
Absolutely. And I don't remember which book it was. I always thought it was Zig Ziglar, but it might've been a different book I read. It was from the 1980s. And that's, one of those founding principles, if you will, that everything is top down. So how the owner treats the management is how the management treat the frontline team, which is how the frontline team treat the customer. If you want to have a great customer experience, then you have to have a great team experience.
Yes. Yes. And I think really where that comes into play is having the bottom up channel available so that leaderships listen to the frontline, as you call them, the frontline people, which the workforce that are, or you call it what, forward facing, right?
Yes.
Forward facing component to your business, the employees that interface with the clients. The clients are, they set everything. They set how much they're going to pay. They set the quality that they will accept. They will set the amount of everything that they will find acceptable to your business. And they're going to always be in the business of telling the person in the front forward facing person what these things are. Now that is the key to success, in my opinion. How do you create that open communication where the employee now can send it back up, where it can be heard, implemented, and that way it can foster growth and innovation and all this great stuff? That's the hardest part, I think, that America's and North America in general, is how we look at the forward-facing employee, and we're not really listening. So how do you fix that?
I call your front-facing team members one of the main profit driver in your business, right? If they're not set up to win, and listen, everyone wants to win.
Yes.
Right. So the problem is the team members spend most of their time guessing how to win, because you have expectations but haven't communicated them, right? So I think there's a couple layers here. First is that they're set up to win. They understand the standards. They understand how they are the brand ambassador. It's not about order taking. It's not about tasks. How are they problem solvers? How do they help customers make effective decisions?
Yes.
The rule of thumb is your customers don't even know the questions to ask to make an effective buying decision. And if the team aren't helping them,
Yeah.
they're ripping them off.
Yes. So that's you really hit on something there. We could unpack on all those things, but it's setting that we call it a compelling aim, right?
Yes.
Your purpose, your mission statement, but really feeding that down in such a way that's overwhelmingly communicated that every person in the company understands their role, in that they know how their role impacts the accomplishment of hitting that aim.
Absolutely. And then, Jeremy, you also talked about the importance of a feedback loop. And this is also, I think there needs to be a good internal communication structure. So you're having regular engagement that these conversations can come up. But the team also needs to understand there is a difference between responding to the customer's words and hearing the message.
Yes.
Right? If a customer communicates anything, they're communicating what's important to them. And so the message underneath needs to be captured. And that's the piece to really bring back and discuss.
Yeah.
Because they're, the questions they ask, complaints they have, suggestions, thank yous, all of that needs to be captured, because that's actually the key information to communicate of what they want.
So what do you think is the size of the business where they start losing control of that two-way flow of communication, in your experience?
It really depends. It really depends. But certainly when you've got a management layer in place, so the owner aren't dealing directly necessarily with the front-facing team, and you've got managers in place, there's that extra layer. So if it's baked into the culture and organization, then you may start to lose that messaging.
Yes. Yeah. So being clear on the value, and then making sure that the leaders have personal values that align with the company values.
Yes.
And I don't think they do. They check that temperature, because that evolves. Values are not principles. Values evolve over time.
That's exactly right. And it's an interesting piece, because often you lose a lot of this when you go into a strictly online business. I read an article recently about an interesting wedding planner startup called Joy. Okay. And the entrepreneur behind it is a software engineer, and he created this as a solution for a sister when she was getting married. And it was so fantastic that they rolled it out. And there's just a lot of really great things about this story, but one of which is they now have 1.8 unique visitors a month to their website, and they've invested
1.8 million.
But they've invested, the team speak to 500 couples a day.
Wow.
500 couples a day. And most online businesses, you can't reach a live person.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But they have an outreach program where they're outreaching to these couples, even though they're an online company, air quotes.
That's right.
Wow. And that's exactly the difference. Right. So they're listening to that first element of, am I succeeding? The client, the ravenous fans. Does that?
And what are they asking for more, or what are they having a challenge understanding how to do? And where are the bottlenecks or roadblocks or questions that they have? All of that is the most important market research you can get your fingers on.
Yeah. Now, how do you think? I'm going to ask you. I'm not. This is not a gotcha moment. I just thought of it. That's how I roll. How do you handle knowing the difference between legitimate things that need to be changed, gripes, complainers in your employ, versus, legitimate things where it might be you need to really open your eyes and hear them and understand it's not really a complaint, it's a real issue. How do what does that look like? Because that's kind of where I probably would suffer from. I'm a bad listener.
Well,
I'm getting better thanks to this show. But
I follow and teach the Complaint is a Gift formula, which is actually from the book A Complaint is a Gift by Janelle Barlow. And what's great about it's just a formula to follow. And the first step of the formula when you're in a company and you have a complaint is that you say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to let me know. Like legitimately say thank you. But by doing that, you put the customer at ease and you put the team member at ease. And now you can dig underneath without dealing with the emotional bang. Right. So, and this is a competitive advantage. Your team set up to embrace handling complaints is a competitive advantage, because most companies fail horribly
Yes.
Interesting statistic is that more raving fans are created when something went wrong and how the team handled it turned them into raving fans than if everything had been perfect in the first place.
Kind of goes along with the theme of this show is that you didn't get here by not going through the mill. You know, in your life, in your business, I only pretty much have people on here that have paid some dues, and some of them some heavy dues.
Yes.
So having, and like a business, because it's made of people, it's never going to be perfect. And you are going to have problems. Plenty of opportunities, I should say, right? To create fans
there's
through
wins
adversity.
and there's lessons and there's nothing else.
Well, great. Well, let's talk about some of these websites you got here. Just because I get bored with my hands and I want to do some stuff with my toys. So let's look at your website. So this one, and let me get rid of my thing up top because I don't care about the brand there. Bam! I want to see and know exactly how to get a hold of you. This is the PattiMara.com, right? PATTIMARA.com.
Yeah.
And is this a good way for people to reach out and get a hold of you?
It really is. This is the easiest way to get a hold of me. And actually, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see all the social media tags. So please, especially in LinkedIn, yes, but please connect with me. Absolutely.
So upper right-hand corner, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, which is the only one that I live on. I will dabble in the others, but I live in LinkedIn. And then you've got something special for our guests. Well, first of all, before we get to that, let me just go back here and look at the book. Let's talk about the book for half a second, even really before we dig into, how to get it. But tell us about UpSolutions. That's an exciting thing that you wrote a book.
Yeah, that was a 10-year labor of love. And
10 years.
Really, 10 years, absolutely. And really the cornerstone of what I do and the different mindsets. So the UpSolutions, turning your team into heroes and customers into raving fans. It's really, we're talking about what are the mindset shifts to position for growth, future forward your business. There's chapter 4 is the UpSolutions recipe, which is 4 very simple steps your team need to follow so that they're positioning as that solution provider and relationship developer. And then the rest of the book is really the structure to set your team up to win. That some of it's mindset, some of it, what does it look like to have weekly or daily huddles? And what does a position agreement versus a job description look like? And how does that set the team up to win?
That's really great stuff and not utilized nearly enough. And if they do, they don't stick to it and they're not consistent with it. Right. So a little bit of the extra stuff there, and they can get your book. I have this up from Amazon, but you have a few different options, right?
Sure. Really any online retailer, Amazon, Barnes and Noble in Canada, Chapters Indigo.
UpSolutions, and the author is yourself, Patti, Patti, and then the last name is Mara. And lastly, you have created something for our listeners, yeah? If they go ahead with the the location.
Absolutely. So we've got a special link for your audience, and that's the website pattimara.com/GoProCast.
Thank you very much. I should have put that in there. I will put it though in the links of the YouTube and all of the audio versions of this podcast. So that's really a great thing.
And Jeremy, if I can jump in, because right now you're seeing, how you can get more information on the book. But if you scroll down, what's really great on this website is I'm sharing a tool, and it's the Touchpoint Scorecard. And there are 5 different versions. It's actually the same tool, but the sample copy is different to make it easier for you. And this is a profound tool, very simple to use. But what it does is it really puts you in position to look at your business from your customer's perspective. And are you creating an experience that enhances the value at each stage? It's a great thing to do with your team. And there's a short video on how to use the tool and involve your team.
Wow, this is great. Normally people just come on and let us download a version or a couple of chapters. This is really some very big added values. So we appreciate this.
Absolutely.
You took a lot of time to put this together for us, and I can't tell you that. And our group is a pretty giving group, so I hope that they reach out to you through the website or go to that link there and take advantage of that, because that's pretty huge. How else can we help you today make your business in your world and the people that you work with more successful? Because we like to support each other in our community.
Oh, that's great, Jeremy. Well, I would say I'm a passionate advocate for locally owned businesses. And it's challenging times, huge opportunity, challenging times.
Yeah,
And so I think it's, if you're talking, well, really, if you're talking to businesses in your community, share this podcast,
that's a good
because
one.
I think the first thing is for business owners to realize, and team members, what the opportunity is and how to start thinking differently about the business, because the last 2 years have been challenge after challenge after challenge. And we
Yes.
need to start repositioning for success and future forward.
Right. I mean, you're in a different place than I am. I think we came out of it about 2 years ago. We're in South Florida, so we have a little bit of a difference in there. But we have our own challenges. There's always something in the news to make someone mad, and those things will never end. But as far as us kind of evolving through this fog, I think we're just about there, luckily, and hopefully, knock on whatever you want, knock on for luck that this continues, because our businesses, like you said, has never been in a better position than to explode and have upward mobility and hire as many great people as possible, and take these advantages of listening to people like yourself to help grow their businesses with them. Well, we appreciate it. We will talk to you again and hopefully have you back on the show, because I think, like I said, there's so much to open up and go into for all those avenues where we can really help a lot of business owners and employees.
Fabulous, Jeremy.
Well, thanks again for being here with me on the PROcast. And remember about Pick Cherries. If you are a podcast listener or a podcast producer, you can download Pick Cherries from iOS and Android right now. And Pick Cherries allows you to share podcasts like never before by just choosing a 60-second clip, hence the name Pick Cherries, and share that cherry through your social media platform. You can email it, you can text it, do whatever you want with it. Your listener or your end user then can listen to that 60-second clip, listen to the rest of the episode, and have access to the whole category of episodes of that podcaster. So share your favorite podcasters, share the stuff that moves you. Hopefully some of them are mine. And until next time, we just want to remind you to please go pro.